Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is a rather gloomy Tuesday, but we have a massive amount of Genoa City drama to unpack together. So grab a coffee and let's just dive right into the absolute madness that is currently unfolding. So let's talk about Patty Williams, because the latest spoilers are pointing to a massive disaster and I just need to get all my thoughts out right now. And honestly, I am just exhausted trying to keep up with this woman's delusions. But here we are, Patty is back in the mix and she is causing absolute havoc. And she is deeply disappointed right now. Like truly devastated, because her grand master plan to finally win over Jack Abbott has completely fallen apart. And she is not taking it well at all, not even a little bit. Because Patty has completely deluded herself into believing that Jack actually wants her. She has twisted everything in her mind, especially after whatever went down on that yacht. She thinks that yacht incident was some kind of romantic turning point for them. Which is just insane, but that is how Patty's brain works. She takes a tiny crumb of interaction and bakes a whole wedding cake out of it in her head. She probably saw Jack look at her for 2 seconds on that boat and thought he was proposing. It is just sad, but also really dangerous, because a disappointed Patty is a lethal Patty. But the reality is so different. Jack wants Diane Jenkins Abbott. He wants to repair his relationship with Diane. He is desperate to fix things with his wife after the tension from the yacht. And Patty is slowly starting to realize this. The longer Patty stays in Genoa City, the more obvious it becomes to her that Jack is never going to just drop Diane. Not as long as Diane is breathing the same air in the same town. Jack is committed, and Patty hates that. So Patty is doing what Patty does best. She is scheming. She is coming up with a highly disturbing plan to eliminate the competition. Because in her twisted logic, if Diane is just gone, then Jack will have no choice but to focus all of his attention on Patty, and that is a terrifying thought. Because we all know what Patty is capable of when she gets pushed into a corner. She has a history of violence. She has a history of doing the unthinkable. So what is Patty going to do? The spoilers suggest she is going to make Diane disappear. Just snatch her up and lock her away somewhere. But here is the really crazy part about all of this. Patty actually thinks she is doing better mentally. She genuinely wants to believe in her own recovery. She thinks she is a changed woman, even though she is clearly still very much unhinged. Just totally out of her mind. But because she wants to prove to herself that she is not a total monster anymore, she probably will not kill Diane. She will not give Diane a tragic, fatal ending. Instead, she will just hold her captive. And in Patty's warped mind, keeping Diane alive is somehow proof of her immense personal growth. Like she is patting herself on the back for only kidnapping a woman instead of murdering her. It is just so clunky and weird, but it makes perfect sense for Patty. She thinks she is being merciful. And I can just picture the scenes now. Patty locking Diane in some dark basement or an abandoned cabin on the outskirts of town. And Patty will probably try to have civilized conversations with her. She will bring Diane a sandwich and talk about how much Jack loves her. And Diane will just be sitting there terrified, but also trying to calculate a way out, because Diane is a survivor. She is not going to just roll over and give up. But Patty is going to be so smug about it, she will probably tell Diane that she is doing her a favor. That she is freeing Diane from a marriage that was clearly broken anyway. Because Patty will use the yacht incident as proof that Jack and Diane were doomed. And Diane will have to just sit there and listen to this crazy woman rewrite history. It is going to be agonizing to watch, but also really compelling television. And then comes the cover-up, because Patty cannot just have people looking for Diane right away. She needs time, so she is going to take Diane's phone. She will steal the phone right out of Diane's purse before she locks her away. And Patty is going to send a goodbye text. She is going to text Jack and probably Kyle too. And the message is going to be something super dramatic, because Patty loves drama. The text will probably say something like the pain of being around Jack is just too much to bear. She will make it sound like Diane is so heartbroken over the yacht incident that she just had to pack up and leave Genoa City immediately. Patty thinks this is a genius move. She thinks everyone will just read the text and go, "Oh well, Diane ran away again." Because Diane does have a history of doing exactly that. She faked her own death, for crying out loud. So Patty is banking on the Abbott family's past trauma with Diane. She thinks they will just assume Diane reverted to her old selfish ways. And Patty will probably sit back and smile, thinking she has completely fooled everyone. She will wait for Jack to start crying on her shoulder. She is probably already picking out her wedding dress in her head, just completely detached from reality. But here is where Patty's plan is going to hit a massive brick wall. Jack is not going to buy it, not for 1 second. And neither should anyone else who has been paying attention to Diane since she came back from the dead. Because Diane has spent years agonizing over the fact that she abandoned Carl when he was young. She has worked so incredibly hard to rebuild her relationship with her son. She has taken so much abuse just to earn her place back in Kyle's life. So the idea that she would just send a text message and vanish. Jack knows that is garbage. He knows Diane would never do that to Kyle again. Not after everything they have been through to fix their bond. Kyle and Diane have been working together. They have been plotting against Victoria Newman together. They were a team. And Diane would not just abandon that without a word. Jack knows this deep in his soul. And then there is Harrison, little Harrison Abbott. Diane loves that little boy so much. She is a devoted grandmother. She adores him. She would never just walk away from Harrison without a proper goodbye. She would never want Harrison to feel the pain of abandonment that Kyle felt. Jack knows this. Jack feels this in his bones. So when he gets the text message, he is going to instantly know that something is wrong. Terribly wrong. His connection to Diane is too deep now. Despite the fights and the drama on the yacht, Jack and Diane have a profound understanding of each other. And Jack's intuition is going to be screaming at him that Diane is in serious trouble. That she did not leave voluntarily. That someone forced her or took her against her will. And we have to remember Jack's own trauma. Jack was kidnapped by Victor and replaced by Marco Anicelli. Jack knows what it feels like to be taken from your life while everyone else thinks you are just acting weird or that you left. So when his wife suddenly sends a bizarre text and vanishes, Jack's alarm bells are going to ring louder than anyone else's. He is not going to just sit around and accept it. He is going to investigate. He will probably look at the wording of the text. He will notice that it doesn't sound like Diane because Patty's crazy is going to bleed into the text message. She won't be able to perfectly mimic Diane's voice. And Jack will spot the inconsistencies immediately. He will probably march right over to Kai and ask if he heard from her. And when Kyle shows him a similar fake text, Jack is going to declare war. So this is going to set up a massive storyline for Jack. We are going to see Jack Abbott go full hero mode. He is going to stop at nothing to find his wife. He will tear Genoa City apart looking for her, and it is going to be so dramatic. Because Jack has been dealing with so much corporate nonsense lately. He has been dealing with Nikki begging him to forgive Victor. But all of that is going to fade into the background. Because the only thing that will matter to Jack is finding Diane. He will be the one to rescue her. He will be the knight in shining armor kicking down the door to whatever creepy room Patty has locked Diane in. And I am so here for it. Jack needs a win. He needs to be the hero of his own story for once instead of just reacting to Victor's games. And honestly, this might be exactly what their marriage needs right now. Because things have been so tense between Jack and Diane, the yacht incident really caused a massive rift. They have been struggling to get back on the same page. But nothing brings a soap opera couple back together quite like a life or death situation. It is the ultimate reset button for a relationship. When Jack rescues Diane and pulls her out of that nightmare, she is going to see how much he truly loves her. She is going to see the desperation in his eyes. She will realize that he never gave up on her, even when a text message told him to. And that is probably going to lead to a huge emotional reunion. Diane will likely forgive Jack for whatever happened on the yacht. Because when you are facing down a crazy kidnapper like Patty Williams, suddenly the petty marital arguments just do not seem so important anymore. It puts everything into perspective, and Diane will realize that Jack is her true protector. And Jack will realize how close he came to losing the love of his life again. It is going to be a tearjerker. The writers are definitely setting us up for a massive emotional payoff. And I just hope they don't drag the kidnapping out for too many months. Because we all know how Y&R loves to stretch a storyline until it snaps. But let's talk more about Patty's mindset during all of this, because I just can't get over it. Patty has this history of obsessing over Jack. It goes back decades. She has always felt like she was the one who truly understood him. She shot him once for crying out loud. And she has always been pushed aside for women like Nikki or Phyllis or Diane. So this current kidnapping plot is really just a continuation of a lifelong pattern of severe mental illness and obsession. But it is so clunky how she thinks she is cured. Like she actually might sit in that room with a captive Diane and try to have a civilized conversation with her. Patty might pour them both a cup of tea and explain calmly why Diane has to stay tied to a chair. It is that terrifying calm that makes Patty such a great villain. She doesn't scream and yell all the time. She just smiles with those crazy eyes and tells you that you are going to live in a basement forever. And Diane is going to be sitting there terrified but also trying to use her own manipulative skills to talk Patty down. Because Diane is a survivor, she will try to play mind games with Patty. She will try to convince Patty that Jack will hate her if he finds out. But Patty will just brush it off because Patty's reality is completely distorted. She will probably tell Diane that Jack secretly asked her to do this. That is how deep the delusion goes. And we have to think about Kyle's reaction to all of this because Kyle has been so angry lately. He has been teaming up with his mom to go after Victoria Newman. He has been ruthless. But if he gets a text saying his mom abandoned him again, he might revert right back to that hurt little boy. He might actually believe it for a hot second because of his childhood trauma. But Jack will be there to snap him out of it. Jack will grab Kyle by the shoulders and tell him that his mother loves him and would never leave him. And it would be amazing to see Jack and Kyle actually team up to find Diane, putting aside all their recent differences at Jebo and just focusing on family. Because the Abbotts need to stick together. Especially with Patty Williams running around doing whatever she wants. And what about the police? Is Chance going to get involved? Probably. But we all know the Genoa City Police Department is basically useless until the very last minute. They will probably just tell Jack that Diane is an adult and she is allowed to leave town if she wants to. They will point to the text message as proof. So it will definitely fall on Jack to solve the puzzle. He will have to go rogue. And maybe he will find a clue. Maybe Diane will manage to leave something behind, a piece of jewelry. Or maybe she will purposely misspell something in the text before Patty hits send if Patty forces her to write it. There will be some small breadcrumb that Jack picks up on because Jack is smart. And his love for Diane will sharpen his senses. Let's circle back to this yacht incident because it is the catalyst for all of this. Whatever happened on that boat really messed with everyone's heads. Patty was there or involved somehow and she took away the completely wrong message. Jack was probably just being polite or maybe he was vulnerable and Patty swooped in and Diane was hurt by it. But Patty saw it as a marriage proposal basically. It is just so exhausting trying to figure out how Patty's brain connects point A to point B, but that is the drama we sign up for, and I'm here for it. Even though it is clunky and sometimes makes no sense. The payoff of Jack rescuing Diane is going to be massive. It is going to be sweeping romantic daytime television at its finest. And I really hope this puts an end to the Patty Williams saga for a while. Because Jack and Diane deserve some peace. They have fought so hard to be together. They survived Phyllis faking her death and framing Diane. They survived Tucker McCall. They survived Ashley losing her mind and creating alternate personalities. They have been through the ringer. And now they have to survive Patty Williams and a fake text message plot. It is just one thing after another. But that is what makes them a super couple. They endure. And Jack is going to prove his devotion by tearing the town apart to find her. He won't sleep, he won't eat, he will just hunt for Patty. And when he finally finds that location, when he kicks that door open, I can just see the look on Patty's face. She will probably be holding a plate of cookies, completely shocked that Jack isn't happy to see her. She will probably say something like, "Jack, I did this for us." And Jack is just going to push right past her to untie Diane. It will shatter Patty's delusion completely. Seeing Jack hold Diane, seeing him cry over her, Patty will finally realize that she never had a chance. And that might be the moment she completely breaks down. It will be tragic in a way, because she is so sick. But mostly it will be a triumph for Jack and Diane. So yeah, Patty is going to kidnap Diane. She is going to fake a text. Jack is going to see right through it because of Carl and Harrison. He is going to rescue his wife. And they are going to live happily ever after. At least until the next disaster hits Genoa City. Because we know happiness never lasts long around here. But for now, I am just buckling up for the Patty Williams Kidnapping Express. It is going to be a bumpy ride, and I hope Diane survives it without too much trauma. Let me know what you guys think about all this madness in the comments below.